More than a year after Russia's war on Ukraine began, the New York Times is reporting the International Criminal Court intends to open 2 war crime cases and is seeking several arrest warrants. The international community has pledged to hold Russia to account, but legally it won't be easy. Iryna Mudra is Ukraine's Deputy Minister of Justice. I spoke with her on Friday. Deputy Minister, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor for me to be here.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to start with the big number that President Zelensky put out there at the recent meeting in Lviv about addressing the war crimes, that Russia is responsible for more than 70,000 war crimes already in Ukraine. What is the biggest challenge you have in trying to hold them to account for these alleged war crimes?
Well, I would start from the key priorities of Ukraine in order to seek justice. So we have no doubt, no one has the doubt that Russia is an aggressor state. Russia commits an act of aggression. Russia is a terrorist state. Russia commits terrorist acts. So we are looking together with our allies, with like-minded states, for the justice to prevail. So every perpetrator should be brought to justice. The ones who ordered the commencement of this full-fledged illegal war should be brought to justice. Every victim of the war should be compensated for the damages which this war cost to them. That is why the key priority for Ukraine to create the comprehensive system of accountability for Russian Federation. And this comprehensive system of accountability comprises 3 main pillars, I would call them. The first one is the investigation and prosecution of war crimes in the domestic criminal justice system by the law enforcement bodies of our allies, of foreign states, and by the International Criminal Court, which has the mandate to investigate war crimes, crimes against humanity, crime of genocide. Unfortunately, ICC does lack jurisdiction to investigate the supreme international crime, the crime of aggression.
Right.
That is why Ukraine is seeking to establish a special tribunal for the crime of aggression. And this is the first big challenge, I would say. Of course, in the domestic level, by the domestic law enforcement bodies, as you have correctly said, more than 70,000 war crimes have been registered and are under investigation.
And clearly Ukraine doesn't have the capacity to deal with that.
Ukraine doesn't have a capacity, and we do count on our allies. We do count on Canada. We do count on other states to help us with experts, with technical support, with the resources to investigate these crimes. We have also problems to get access to the documents, especially to those ones which are on the occupied territories.
Right.
And to the places, to the sites on the occupied territories. So these are very, not easy things to deal with, especially when the active phase of war is ongoing.
Right. The investigation while the conflict is raging is extra challenging. You have the issues that some of the people you may want to prosecute will stay inside Russian territory with they're certainly not going to extradite them. You're relying on partners. I have to ask about the United States, because the International Criminal Court features prominently in Ukraine's intentions to hold Russia to account. But the United States isn't a member of the ICC. We've seen reports that the White House and the State Department support Ukraine in this. The Defense Department is reluctant. What's your sense of how supportive the U.S. intends to be in bringing people to justice at the International Criminal Court?
As I said, they can support by other means, by expertise, they can provide financial, technical support in order the domestic legal system conducts these investigations. They can support in gathering evidences of war crimes, because a lot of people had to leave their homes and go to the States, to Canada, to other countries. So it's a way to talk to these people, to gather information from them, to if they were the victims of these war crimes, to provide these evidences to the law enforcement bodies of Ukraine.
Right.
So there are ways of cooperation. It does not mean that if they are not a member, a party to ICC, they have to be staying aside. No, they can help. And I do hope they are doing this.
Right, they can help the process. I know the Americans have some concern about precedent on giving evidence to the International Criminal Court because of the potential impact on their soldiers, for example, but you're saying there's other ways that they can help. And one of the issues that stands out to me as a dad is this forced abduction or relocation of Ukrainian children, thousands of them out of Ukrainian territory to Russia. How do you even begin to tackle that one? Do you think there's any hope of getting the children back and holding people to account? And why do you think Russia is targeting kids so young?
It is a very complicated and painful issue, really, because I have personally a lot of friends, a lot of people who are acquaintances of mine whose children were taken to, I don't know to where, I don't know, to different parts of Russia. So there are clear signs of the act of genocide, clear signs. We scream to the international community to help us with this. We call on UNICEF, we call on other international organizations to make Russia behave in a proper way, at least with regards to children. We are not speaking about the soldiers, about the wars of prisoners of war, but about children. They try to erase the national identity. Mm-hmm. They give these children, I don't know where. So we are trying on our national level to adopt the respective legislation, but no legislation will help until we get the access to these people, or someone else helps us to get this access.
Given the challenges that you face with the sheer volume of what's happening in the country and the fact that Vladimir Putin, the top officials in his government, they're in Russia, they're untouchable to some degree. How confident are you that the real people behind this invasion, that they can truly be held responsible and feel the punishment for what they've done to Ukraine?
Right. That is why we want the tribunal to be established. That is why we want those ones who ordered to commence this war to be punished. It's Putin, it's closest military and political leadership. That is why there should be process, trial process with regards to them. I understand the pessimism that those people might never go out of Russia, right, but it will be their choice. They will stay in Russia forever. But once they go out, they have to be taken, prosecuted, trialed, sentenced in a due process.
Iryna, Mudra, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.